560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Joe Biden's nominee for comptroller of the currency in the Treasury Department is a Manchurian candidate named Sola Amarova. We've talked about her before. She was born in the Soviet Union, I think raised in Kazakhstan. And she came to this country, she says, by pure chance. She wasn't fleeing repression, as of the manufactured press reports have suggested. She's a big fan of where she grew up. I mean, pre the wall falling. And this is what she had to say, as her nomination is in peril because of the failure to gain support from Democrat senators like John Tester of Montana, I suspect Manchin and Sinema as well. This is what she had to say at a seminar in March about the oil and gas industries.
For certain troubled industries and firms that are in transitioning. And here what I'm thinking about is primarily coal industry and oil and gas industry. A lot of the smaller players in that industry are going to probably go bankrupt in short order. At least we want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change, right?
Oh, there you go.
Rooting for oil and gas companies to go bankrupt. That's an odd position for a higher up in the Treasury Department to take, but it's one she's taking nonetheless. This is somebody who won't turn over her thesis on Marx to senators who've requested it for scrutiny. Gosh, I wonder why. She wants to go back to the Moscow banking system of the Bolshevik Revolution, it would seem.
So she wants to bankrupt them to tackle climate change, kind of like Greta saying, well, I want gas to be $10 a gallon so that people are forced to take public transportation or drive an electric car. Okay, I see what they're doing.
Whether her nomination succeeds or fails, the fact that she was nominated is astounding, but not really, given who the Democrat Socialist Party is run by and who comprises that party. These are their intellectual leaders, passing the torch from Marx to Amarova on down. For more on this, pleased to be joined for our weekly conversation with Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Trumponomics author, and, of course, economist. Steve, Miss Amarova.
Good morning, guys. By the way, you just 3 minutes ago, the new consumer price index numbers came out, and inflation is getting worse. It's not getting better. So we're now at a 6.2% annual rate of inflation. I think that doesn't come as a surprise to anybody who goes to the grocery store or the gas pump. So it's this idea that this inflation is, quote, transitory. The Fed, obviously, the real data is showing it's moving in the wrong direction. And it ties into what you were just saying. We've got a bunch of people running the economy now who are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, this woman that you mentioned, I can't remember her name, but
Amarova.
Not to be confused with Omarosa.
Exactly.
She wants to destroy a whole major sector of the American economy. I mean, she wants to throw millions of people out of work, and she's not shy about saying that because she wants to save the planet by putting every coal worker and oil and gas worker in the United States out of a job. That's a pretty radical position, folks. I mean, even I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat,
she's rooting for bankruptcy. I mean, also, but
you can't make this stuff up.
But if you voted for Joe Biden, this is what you're getting. And incidentally, it's not just, this woman isn't going to be in a position of too much power. I mean, she will be the head of the comptroller of the currency, and that does have a lot of regulation of the banks and things like that. But then, I don't know if you heard the news this morning, but now Biden is looking to replace Jerome Powell at the Fed. And as you know, the Fed chairman is probably one of the 4 or 5 most powerful people in the country, with this woman, Lael Brainerd, and she is a pretty radical person too. She wants to add to the Fed mandate. I think the Fed should have only one mandate: keep prices stable, keep inflation under control, and they can't even do that. Now they want to add a new mandate, which is climate change. Did you know that, guys?
Yeah, of course.
They make climate change one of their mandates at the Fed. The Fed is supposed to have control of the monetary policy. What does that have to do with climate change?
Well, here, Miss Amarova also, she doesn't just want to end the oil and gas industry. She also wants to end banking as we know it. She wants to convert the Fed into the people's ledger.
What?
Yes. I mean, that's very Soviet. Yeah.
Her basic position is, what do we need banks for? We could just have the government lend out the money. We
Exactly.
don't need banks.
That's exactly
By she doesn't think we need investment advisors either. Wouldn't it be better? So how much more efficient would it be if it's just the government? Congress just decides where we invest, not private bankers and investment managers. I mean, these people are lunatic. I mean, people voted for Biden. I wonder, is this what you thought you were getting with Joe Biden in the White House? And it seems like every week the people that they're nominating for these positions are more and more out there in the stratosphere in their views of the world.
They're trying to out-progressive each other. I mean, until what?
Exactly.
But I want to talk to you about, this.
I despair to think what's coming next. If you can get to the left of this woman, we'll be watching closely when this woman is up for Senate hearing to see exactly what she has to say. And then how about, have you guys seen on YouTube this video of Jennifer Granholm when she is asked about what she's going to do about gas prices? I mean, after all, she's the energy secretary. And she laughs for 30 seconds like a hyena. She said, well, I can't do anything about gas prices. Well, I can think about 4 or 5 things that Joe Biden could do. He could, build the Keystone Pipeline. He could allow drilling in Alaska. He could stop his war on American energy. He could allow drilling on federal lands. He could, all of these things are obvious. We had energy independence under Trump, and in 10 months now we have to go hand in hand with the Saudis and plead with them to increase their oil output. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Well,
folks.
Can you repeat something that you said last week? Because I want to make sure I'm quoting you correctly. You said that we normally produce how many millions of barrels?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So thank you. So roughly 12 million barrels a day was what we were producing under Trump, before COVID hit. And now we're down to a little less than 10 million barrels a day. And incidentally, he wants to take that down eventually to 0 barrels a day. And this new woman who at the comptroller of the currency, she wants to help make that possible. But just take the 2 million barrel reduction a day at $83 a barrel, which is today the world price of oil. That's somewhere near $170 million we're losing a day. That is $1 billion a week, folks, we're losing. The United States of America is losing $1 billion a week. That's, if my math is right, that's $50 billion a year because of this dingbat energy policy. And meanwhile, now people might be listening and say, well, we have to worry about climate change. We can't produce too much oil and gas. Well, guess what Russia is doing? Guess what China is doing? Guess what India is doing? Guess what Vietnam is doing? Guess what even Europe is turning to coal now. So the other country that's turning against coal is the country that has more coal than any other nation in the world.
Well, and it's not just coal. This controversy over the Line 5 pipeline going from Canada to Michigan that the Biden administration, they're sort of non-committal publicly, but it's under review in terms of whether they're going to try to spike that too. The one estimate one estimate is that the move would worsen the spike in the spike that's already occurred with propane prices that are up 50% from a year ago, and so now this is another huge source of fuel and energy.
So I have a good friend who lives in St. Louis, right up the road from where you guys are, and he was telling me that she got a letter from her utility, her electric utility company yesterday. She sent it to me, and the letter says, dear valued customer, we do everything we can to keep your home heating costs down, but because Biden has put this pipeline in jeopardy, the letter said, you are likely to face home heating costs this winter of an increase of 25% this winter. And then the letter says, and by the way, if they cancel this, if they discontinue the use of this pipeline, which pipeline natural gas, which is a clean burning fuel, into people's homes so they can use it for heating their homes and using for their stoves and so on. And then it said, the only solution we can see to make sure we don't run out of energy this winter if it's cold is for people to turn their thermostats down. And I'm like, gee, where did I hear
Jimmy
that?
Carter.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Carter.
Put on a sweater.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Maybe we can get cash for clunkers
pretty
back.
Pretty soon, guys, we're going to have to start wearing. Remember Jimmy Carter with the cardigan sweater,
right,
to keep himself warm? We're going to all have to buy those sweaters to keep ourselves huddled up by the fireplace.
Well, in the spirit of making everything old new again, we can borrow another program from the Obama era, since this is the Joe Obama era. Let's bring back cash for clunkers too, to get more used cars on the lots. What do you think?
Well, there's a great editorial in the Wall Street Journal the other day. Did you see that? Tesla was a $1 trillion company, although its stock has fallen in the last week because Elon Musk says he's going to sell a bunch of it. But let's say it's somewhere near $1 trillion. So this is one of the 5 wealthiest, richest countries in the world, companies in the world. And this new transportation bill and the climate change bill gives billions and billions of taxpayer dollars to a company that is $1 trillion company. Can you explain that one? Why taxpayers have to subsidize Tesla?
Well, explain to us where you think the tax and the socialist tax and spendathon is at present. The other $4 trillion after the $1.2 trillion passed last week, thanks to 13 House Republicans.
I got to tell you, people are furious around the country about this betrayal of those 13 Republicans, which handed Nancy Pelosi a victory. I'm telling you, she did not have 218 votes to pass this clunker bill, and so who bails her out but 13 turncoat Republicans? There's a reason they call Republicans the stupid party. I mean, I'm a member of the stupid party, and it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. And that bill, that $1 trillion bill, is the gateway drug to the $4 trillion bill that they want to pass. On top of the $2 trillion they passed earlier this year, states are swimming with money right now, and we keep giving them more and more money. And if you do that, folks, what do you think happens to inflation? It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Well, let's talk about inflation because a lot of consumers are having sticker shock at the grocery store. Last night I was in Mariano's, and I always talk about the goldfish, the big jumbo crate of goldfish was normally $3.99. Right now, guess how much it is, Stephen Moore?
So it's usually how much?
$3.99.
$4.99.
$8.79. It's out, and then if you can even find stuff because shelves are barren. So is this due to the supply chain crisis that we're having? Why are prices going up?
Well, if this keeps up, we're going to be like the Soviet Union, right? We're going to have like empty shelves of things, and people are going to be selling stuff on the black market. It is the supply chain problem. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough people working because the government's paying people not to work. We also, the energy problem makes the supply chain problem worse. And but look, you guys, how many times do I have to tell you this? Don't worry about it because Pete Buttigieg is on the job, and he's going to take care of this because he was the mayor of South Bend, so he knows a lot about how to deal with big crises like this.
Right, and just before we let you go, and we set up that GoFundMe page for Amy Jacobson's goldfish budget. So now that passed in the House, I know it's the gateway to the $4 trillion, but where do Manchin and Sinema go now that there's no leverage going back and forth anymore? Does the bill you're trying to kill actually get done?
So, Dan, isn't it a sad state of affairs in America when the fate of the Western world rests on the shoulders of Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema? That's where we are today. I don't have a clue what they're going to do. My suspicion is that Manchin's going to do what he always does, is cut a deal that we're going to hate. Now, Kristen Sinema, though, she's like the most popular person in Arizona right now. she's more popular with the Republicans now than the Democrats in Arizona. And boy, how does it feel for the Democrats to have a John McCain on their hands? Right. So, yes. I think that lady may come through for us. I hope she does. She wants to be president someday. But my God, it is a sad situation. Only 2 Democrats out of 256 in the entire U.S. Congress are not far leftists. So 1% of the Democratic Party is moderate, and 99.7% are leftists. That's a sad state of affairs in America today.
Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Trumponomics author, economist. Thanks as always, Steve.
Okay, guys, have a great day. Take care.
Thanks. You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
A quote from Winston Churchill. The main vice of capitalism is the uneven distribution of prosperity. The main vice of socialism is the even distribution of misery.
Listen, to all you manufacturing companies out there, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Coolshar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and system integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet the FDA numerous compliances and requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution for your business